Welcome to the Neighborhood Church Podcast. We're recorded live in Go Rogue Studio. You know what? I've always said this.
I love the joy on your face when you do that.
I'm so excited we're in a studio. Like I've said for years, like as we record a podcast in the church, we always do it in the worship center. And I've said it so many times that like in studio, like we're really just in the church on our stage, right? Recording because that's where all the mics are set up. Mm-hmm. And so I've always like, man, one day we'll be in it. Like one day we'll graduate and be in a big studio, right? And so here we are. It's our Christmas Sabbath Sunday podcast. We are recorded live in studio at Go Rogue Studio, which is a hop, skip, and a jump from the church, which is fantastic. And so they've set us up. Lucas is here with us doing awesome. So we really appreciate you, Lucas. And we're going to get into a Sabbath Sunday podcast, which is really incredible. And we've had many people do our podcast over all the different years that we've done it. And so we've started this tradition, and I always love to welcome the people who are here on the podcast right away. And so I'd love for you to share who you are. So Tom, let's start with you. Who are you? What is your role in the church? How long have you been serving in the church? How many years did you go to seminary? More than you thought you should go to seminary? Like, just give us the full rundown.
Okay, I see if I remember all those. Yeah, so Tom Helmich, my family and I have been a member at the Neighborhood Church. So we went back in Facebook memories, and so I think it's been since 2012, so about 13 years.
Great. Yeah, this started the church.
Started the church, yeah, the very beginning. I got a picture of us with the door we signed that we sent to the Synod for our Constitution. For so a hot minute there, and I still remember the conversation with you driving to Synod Assembly, starting to talk about questions. And then you give me the big elbow when Bishop Mike talked about the new program at Wartburg where you could do seminary at distance.
Yep, that's right.
Because I wasn't retired from the PD yet. So, I went through seminary for 7 years.
Yeah, that was a long time, Tom.
It's a very biblical number, though.
Time. When you started seminary, I was very excited to have a pastor join the team. And then the next year, I was excited to have the following year, I was excited to have
it fits since, the last season with Advent, it's like that waiting. I had to wait.
Hopeful waiting.
Yeah, and it was a good long number, right? 7 years. So I went to seminary for 7 years, and now I'm a pastor of care and education at the Neighborhood Church.
That's beautiful.
And so I'm learning a lot, trying to figure out technology stuff, but doing some pastoral care and Bible studies and stuff like that.
You have come so far in learning technology, and I just want to say publicly on this podcast, I'm proud of you. I feel like a sense of endearment to how far you've come because you were our core team president at one point, and we were on Google Docs, and we had
y'all were on Google Docs.
Yeah, well, that's a very true statement, Tom. And I remember that year, and the grind. I was like, he's just not like getting into the tech. And we had Slack, and you're like, I'm not doing that. Like you were like, I'm not doing it. And you would pull out your paper.
I had a special notebook. For the core team.
Notebook.
I still use paper.
I don't doubt that.
But I am just proficient enough to get by. So I'm getting there, though. That's been the challenge for Pastor Joe, is him trying to teach me how to use tech. So.
Now, part of your role is care and education, right? And so you're part-time at the church, right? 30 hours at the church, and part of that is dedicated to the neighborhood. And then we contract out, right, to have you help other churches. Yep. And right now, which church are you helping? Can you give us a little background on that?
Yeah, so I'm at St. Luke Lutheran in Fort Smith, which is neat because that was one of your internship sites.
It was, yeah. So that was back 2009.
Yep.
Wait, 2010, so 16 years
ago. Oh, and they still remember you?
Yeah.
And then that's good. And then I did my internship split between the neighborhood and St. Luke.
Yeah.
And now serving there as an interim on contract from the neighborhood, sending me to St. Luke.
Yeah.
And they actually have 2 churches in that building. Central Presbyterian is actually using that building also. And so I've got 2 churches in that building. And so it's a lot of fun, but we're mixing traditions and different styles of worship.
Is that style of worship like the neighborhood style of worship? I mean, we're kind of a modern worship, and
so very not. Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Well, just give us a small taste of what is worship at St. Luke.
It's more modern than I grew up with, in that we don't wear the albs and the stoles every Sunday.
Okay.
But there's a pipe organ played every Sunday.
I love it. Beautiful.
Which is I love the pipe organ.
Yeah.
And then we have, the regular altar, dead center, the more formal style of worship. We still use the evangelical Lutheran worship hymnal.
Yeah, that's great.
And the old school hymns from the 15th, 16th, 17th centuries.
Do you have the wood on the side of the wall where you put your hymns on for each Sunday?
We don't use that.
Oh, is it there though?
It is there.
Oh, okay.
It is there, but we don't use it. Well, it's usually just
a mighty fortress. Right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. Well, because it's an older church.
Yeah.
And even the hymnal type font in that is small for me at 50. And so we print paper bulletins.
Oh, nice.
So we can expand the print size. So we don't really use those anymore. So for them, it's very contemporary.
It's great. It's
on
beautiful.
Our scale, it's very like old school traditional Lutheran. It's a good mix.
Yeah. It's a good mix and a great mix for you.
Oh, a great mix for me because I have a very traditional heart in a lot of stuff, but I love seeing the joy in people that are not as used to the different style of worship, being able to come in and feel welcome exactly how it is, without that questioning and not knowing what's going on and feeling like they fit just how they are.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And then also joining us today, Andrea, can you share who you are, how long you've been at the church, and what is your role at the church right now?
Andrea Lickfelt. I've been at the church since my family, and I have been at the church since, I think, 2015, because I think we decided it was the signed door was already in the old location.
The signed door is a symbol. Like,
right?
I think we need to bring it back. Like, we had new members sign a door.
That's a benchmark.
It's a benchmark. Like, this is when I came in, and my original, oh man, it would be great now, but my original plan was to have a door for every year. But what I ran into is, where do you put them? Like, at some point, like, a whole wall is just doors, right? You know, and people are like, oh, I signed 2018. You know, I'm like, but people, when I say when you come, they're like, post door, pre-door. And I'm like, man, that door is a symbol. And so it's wonderful. We have both of those doors, which are really wonderful. And so you came 2015.
2015. Yep. My role now is... What is my role? Lead worship coordinator.
That's right. Yep. And you have a bank of worship coordinators underneath you that help every single Sunday.
Yes.
But primarily, would you say volunteers?
I mean,
it's all volunteers, right? All Sunday volunteers. And I think last time we had a list of like 80 that we texted this past week saying that if you volunteer, we'll give you a free shirt. Like, we're incentivizing volunteers right now. Like, we'll get a free shirt. We might go to like Starbucks gift cards. Like, we're going to do anything to celebrate our volunteers to make sure they're loved on. And so 2015, that would be when we were in the storefront.
Correct.
All right. So we were in a tiny storefront next to Las Fajitas. Fantastic, man. If we
that was great. Get us service, walk the parking lot over and
rice and beans after service. It's good.
Yeah.
You have communion and the rice and beans. It was fantastic. It was so good. So it's really wonderful. Okay, so we've got volunteers, Tom's Caring Education. And now, Andrew, this is your first Christmas kind of being over volunteers and a Christmas season.
It is.
We've had a lot of different Christmases over the years. And so Tom and I were talking about, like, what are the Christmases we remember at the neighborhood church and, like, how those Christmases impacted us and other people. And so I was just going back and forth. But Tom, I'd love you to share. Do you have a memory, like a key memory from one of the Christmases you attended at the church? Like, what is that memory? And share it with us, because I think families get a lot of memories from Christmas, with church and in family and in tradition. And so I would love to talk like, what's your church memory?
So, you know, it always stresses us out when you got with the candles. But there's something different. It doesn't count like it's a light bulb, right? But it's hard enough getting all your kids to church clean, with their shoes, and put together for Christmas Eve.
Christmas beauty, yeah, it's great.
And then when you have boys with ADD who are just kind of their heads swimming everywhere, looking at everything, and they're holding a candle. And I remember at one point,
and you're talking about Silent Night by candlelight.
Yes,
when they're holding an actual candle,
all the lights are out. The little paper disc,
little paper disc, right? We just bought 300 of them, right? So they're coming in for this, and then we light the candles and we spread them out, and everyone gets one who parents approve. So your kids can have one if they're 3. That's fine. Like, but you have to watch them, right?
So now I feel judged as a parent, because
I just want to be clear about where we're going in this story.
Yeah, he's just trying to release the neighborhood church from all liability.
Yeah, right.
Well, and so all 3 of my kids, I'm thinking they're old enough, and they've got candles, and just be careful, hold it still, just hold it right,
Yeah.
And how it happened, I don't know, but my daughter's hair did get lit on fire with the candle.
Oh, my gosh.
Because you remember in the storefront, we took over that other suite, and so you went up the steps a little higher up.
Tom, that was a balcony. We called it the balcony.
A balcony,
remember. We opened the wall, and we didn't realize it was 3.5 foot higher, right? Because obviously we looked outside and we're like, oh, of course it makes sense, because there was a ramp outside. Yeah. We just didn't even think about it. So we called it our balcony.
It made a great balcony.
It made a great balcony. And you couldn't see worship. We had to put a TV back there.
Yeah.
It was 15 feet from worship, and you couldn't see it. So we had to put a TV with iMag on it so you could see the people that were going. It was a moment.
But we made it work.
We made it work.
It was great for parties.
It was great for parties. It was great for parties. I agree.
Yeah, so we're sitting up there, and then, her... I don't know if it was a wispy or what, and the candle caught it, and so I think it was my dad. It was, slapping her head, or maybe Amy. I can't remember which. And I'm like, oh, then there's the smell of burnt hair.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what that smell is, but just by the look on your face, I'd never want to know what the smell of burnt hair is.
Yeah, long story, but so that happened, and I still remember Jess. She's like, was her hair just on fire?
That's great.
And I'm like, yes. And that look of terror, looking at all the kids and the little girls with the hair all done up and all these candles, like, oh.
Yeah, like what happened to the people around you? Because I'm just thinking, like, people in the vicinity had to, like, be moving and shifting and saying something.
Well, luckily, most everybody was in front of us.
Oh, okay, great.
And so they had no idea unless they smelled it.
Yeah, that's true.
But the people on either side and behind us, I'm sure it looked kind of funny, but it never happened again.
That's
she usually she'd wear her hair.
I love how there's a possibility that it would happen again. You're like, but it was only once.
Yeah, then she started wearing her hair pulled back a little bit. And her hair's shorter now, so we made it. Nobody got hurt. Nothing was damaged.
Yeah.
But it was a little moment of excitement where we didn't expect it.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. So 2 stories from that. One, when I grew up, I was an acolyte. So an acolyte, full robed acolyte when I was a youth, right? So high school. In my dad's church, large church, 2,500 members, big sanctuary, and big chancel area where like the altar's at and everything else up front. And they had, just like we do, the 2 big trees up front, and they were decorated beautiful. And these were like 16-foot trees. I mean, just massive. And the acolytes would all sit next to the trees. And so when we walked up, we had to have our acolyte stick, and that's fine. And we go up and everything else like that. And then we light all the candles. And the goal is just to get to the front before your wick went out. Like that was the goal, because it was so shaming when your wick went out and everyone just went, because that meant you didn't start service yet. So you had to go back, and then they made you try again. Like at some point, it's like, just put a wick up there that I can light up. I would have done something different.
Or a lighter.
I think, yeah. So now they look back, I'm like, why did my dad put me in that situation?
We do keep a lighter up front at St. Luke.
That's good.
I was going to say, as acolytes, we just came just like from the side door. So it was only 5 steps walk of shame to get relit.
That wick would flicker, and I was like,
I had to do the same. I followed the pastor or I think I went in front of him, and you went from one room to another, and the air pressure shifts, and I'm like,
and you could just see it. Oh man. So I get all the way to the front, and there was 1 step into like a pre-chancel area. Then there was 2 steps onto the main area where I had to light the wicks, right? And then our seats were up beyond that. And got up past the first step, fine. I'm walking across this little platform, right? Big open area in the front of the church. It's just me up there lighting wicks. Everyone's waiting, right? And here we go. Big trees are up. It's the moment, right? It's not Christmas Eve service, but it's like one of the Sundays leading up to it. And I take a step onto the 2 steps, and I step on my robe, which when I go to move, locks my robe down. So I shift, and it pulls me down, and I can't move. So I try to recover, but I get my other foot caught on the other side of the robe. So not even pretty. I face plant right onto the chancellor because I couldn't recover. Like I was stuck. It was like I was trapped.
Pretend like you're genuflecting.
So I fall. But when I fall, I hit the ground and I slide my acolyte stick, and it goes right under the tree. So mind you, everyone's like, right? And then from across the place, my dad, who has 2 other pastors on his team that didn't go through 7 years of seminary, they're over there sitting with my dad. And they immediately get up and rush. It is drama. It is Christmas drama because it's still lit. It's on the floor. The tree's above it. Like the place is about to light on fire, right? And so my dad runs right past me. Like I'm on the ground, face planted into the jam. He runs literally like over me to get to the wick and picks that up first. And I just remember thinking like, what? And I was like, at this moment, like, pick up your son gently. Like, this is a good Samaritan moment. Like, don't pass by, right? And he did, and the church didn't burn down. So it never happened again, though, because I don't acolyte on Christmas anymore. So I'm done. It's not going to happen. My memory from our Christmases at the church would be we're in the storefront, we're working it, and we've done crazy things in Christmas. We're like wonderful thing. We've done Grinchmas with like a 2-story tower, right? We've had like a wonderful like whole back LED wall, right? We've had these candles everywhere, which we do again now. It's kind of candlelit Christmas everywhere. And but this Christmas I walked in and we had logs in place of chairs because we wanted like a campfire Christmas. We were doing like Ren Collective campfire stuff. So we wanted a campfire Christmas, and we had these logs out, and we were doing like pallet Christmas trees, and it was wonderful.
Did we have like bales of straw and burlap bags over them?
Yes. Okay, so this is what happened. So we had this straw and these burlap, and it was great. It was very like woodsy Christmas, right? Nothing I would ever do again. Like looking at it, I was like, oh, this is a great idea. Now I'm like, what? And so I walked in Christmas Eve morning. And Christmas Eve is happening at night then. We did night services like 7:30, right? And I walk in, I was like, it's not enough. And I just felt like underwhelmed. I don't know. It was like, so now we're 3-4 years in the church. Everything has to be bigger. Everything has to be greater. Like I'm in this mode of like, I have to grow it. And I looked and it's like, it's not enough. It's not enough. It needs to feel more like a stable. Like I wanted this stable outdoor woodsy vibe. Like you walked inside, but you were outside. Like, and it was just this wonderful, caring moment. I was like, I want people to experience this when they come inside the doors, right? And so I looked and I was like, if I put hay all over the floor, then it will be Christmas. And so I ran.
And then the cleaning company will quit.
Oh, no. I know. I ran to Lowe's. So I go up to Lowe's and I buy 12 hay bales. Just 12 hay bales, right? Load them in the back of my truck. And let's see, 12, might have been less than 12. It was a lot of hay bales. And so I load them in the back of my truck and I pull up to the back of the church and they have a little patio out back. And I load all these hay bales out. And I'm like, ooh, I can't just put hay on the ground because that's going to be a nightmare to clean up. So I put brown craft paper all over the ground that we had. And I put it all over the ground in the aisles and everything else. I'm like, this is a great idea. Now it's easy cleanup. People won't be mad at me. I'm like, I clean up. I got the hay. Cool. I spread all the paper down. I tack it down. And then I spread all of the hay everywhere, right? I get done and I look and I'm like, yes. Now we can embrace Christ's birth, which is not a thing. Does it have anything to do with discipleship? No, it doesn't. Does anything meeting with people where they're at? No, it doesn't. And so we get all this moment done and I'm like, yes. And I step on the hay and realize that it is frictionless with the craft paper. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, we have candlelight Christmas. And I'm like,
flashback.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh my. At this point, I'm locked. Like, there's not a going back moment, right? And so I'm like, I'm going to build it up. Everyone's going to be excited. Now, this was before I communicate well. So people are like walking in. I'm expected they're going to have the same surprise, like the band and leaders and everything else like that. Holly Jones, our beloved worship leader for 7 years and beloved band member singing this Christmas, awesome, doing solos, incredible member of the church. She walks in. What I also did not consider is that she is allergic to hay. That's the moment. That is the moment right there. She is allergic to hay, right? She walks in. She goes, I have to go. I have to go right now. And I was like, why? What? Oh. And she's like, I'm allergic to hay. And I was like, oh, never even considered, right? And so she got, everything, Benadryl, everything, just to make it through Christmas Eve, right? That's when I was like, you know what? I think we can change in the future. Like 3 years into like church, I'm like, we can change in the future. We can do things and kind of enjoy it and that's where like Candlelight Christmas came from. Candlelight Christmas came from this moment of like, hey, we can have a beautiful, peaceful time and just do minor things in the background, enjoy meeting people where they're at, and have a very peaceful Christmas, right? In a really wonderful way. So, I've loved the church. Love the church. Christmas season is intense, though, right? Because we have a lot of things going on in the life of the church. And so I want to do a little behind the scenes. So I want to see if we can kind of get into behind the scenes. And Andrew, this is probably like where you're going to live, right? Because you've done all the volunteers. And it's not only that we do Christmas Eve. We've done Carols and Cocoa, right? We've done Kid City Christmas. We've also done Christmas at the movies. And so like all of these are different shifts in the church. So let's just open an honest moment. Like you looking at volunteers, working alongside us and the staff, every single week talking through it.
Why'd you look at me?
She did look at Tom first. Everyone knows she looked at Tom first.
Because we are here in solidarity. Because you've already been through all this. This is my first season in this role. But now hearing these stories, I think
it could be so much worse.
I actually have it pretty easy.
You know what? Can we get it right?
That's a success.
That's a success. I think that is faithful. So what was it like? Give us some behind this for people who don't experience maybe the volunteer roles and you're in staff meetings, right? You're getting set up. You and I are meeting. We're talking through things. We're adapting when we see things aren't going to work that we planned for. What is it like behind the scenes? And just start us through the Christmas season. Like let's talk like Christmas at the movies. Like what's it like setting up for something like that?
Well, yeah, like so when people come in on Sundays, it looks one way, and then the next week it's a little bit different, and then the next week it's a little bit different, and so I don't know if it's magic elves or no, it's incredible volunteers. Like
really is.
The men's group sponsored
a
decorating day. The women's group sponsored a decorating day, and it just builds and builds and builds, and then we throw in some popcorn and cocoa bar and toppings. And
there's no spills ever in the church or anything like that. Like
that's why it's a concrete floor, not
carpet.
Not carpet.
You know what? We did something right with the concrete floor. It doesn't help acoustically, doesn't help sonically, right? And it creates a lot of issues. But you know what happens when we need to clean something up? It's beautiful, right? It's absolutely beautiful. So we we got Malco popcorn, which was awesome. We put that in cups for people to go out.
Real movie theater popcorn.
And real movie theater buttered popcorn. And you can't deny that, right? And the Malco hooked us up. They gave us 3 of those bags for $25. It was awesome, right? So they hooked us up for weeks on that, which was great. And but you're right, it takes a team of volunteers. And I love it because like even when you say the men's group, right? They helped set up the trees.
Yes.
That's on a Saturday morning, right? We're getting in there and we're setting up. How many trees do you think we have?
I have no idea. There are so many. It is a forest of trees.
You know, I do like that though, right? I do like going and doing Christmas Eve.
I kind of want to get like either real or fake, like a taxidermy, like a stuffed squirrel that looks really realistic, and start putting them in the trees just to see who notices, like little Easter eggs out there.
This is a great idea. I don't know if a taxidermy squirrel is what we need to go with, but like
something that looks,
yeah, it's like there's something hidden that you need to find. I'm in favor.
Just
of
see
this.
who notices it.
Well, and here's the deal. What if we did something What if we did something for next year for people who listen to this podcast? They're going to be the only people that know. They're going to be the only people that know that they talked about the scroll. So we have to do a scroll for next year.
Some little birds, just not obvious, just you know, distant, just a few scattered.
That's beautiful.
But it has to have like a name.
Yes.
Like it's not Elf on the Shelf. It's like, but like squirrel doesn't really rhyme with anything.
Yeah, no, like that's
creation. Well, the creation and incarnation, right?
Yeah.
The incarnation of God in
that
Christ.
Was super traditional.
And
Tom.
a little bit of that's me, right? But yeah, a little bit more of God's creation in the scene.
I love this idea, and then we should do like a little if they find it. It's kind of like the Christmas pickle. Do you guys know the Christmas pickle?
Yes, yeah.
Like we have the Christmas pickle as like a family too. So like if you find the pickle, you get the first gift, which is wonderful. If you find the squirrel, you
get the notoriety of having found the first squirrel.
Exactly, it's great, and we know you listen to the podcast, which is really wonderful. Okay, so the men's group was, and these are cool moments that the men's group is a response from hey, the previous year we had everyone come at the same day. And they tried to set trees up and decorate trees, which we tried to pick up the trees too. So it ended up being a 5-hour thing versus a 2-hour thing, right? So we make those adaptations when we hear from volunteers going, this didn't work the way that we thought it could. I'm like, okay, we can actually do better. And so Christmas was set up and we had the stanchions out, right? And the red carpet, which was kind of fun for that. What was it like for Kid City Christmas? So Kid City Christmas was another setup, right? And all that. So what were volunteers like, different things like that? How I was going through that.
I think you had a great set of volunteers for Kid City Christmas and everything ran smoothly and there was no, compared to some Kid City Christmases, it did run. It did run.
Very smoothly. Directing was awesome, right? We had Caitlin Parnell reading lines to kids, right? And then we had Julie McNerlin in the back. Oh, our joy, here's part of, we're going to get to joy at the end of this podcast. I think part of my joy is the volunteers. I love serving with them, right? And I love being in these moments. I was with 5 volunteers before this, right? Sitting in the back wall of the stage, right? I love the time, right? Because it's time to talk. It's time to engage in relationship. And we're challenging ourselves, right? It's not just the same thing. It's something new. And this was your first experience in Carols and Cocoa, setting the whole thing. And you took it from me. You took it and you said, I want everything. It took you about 4 weeks to get the list from me finally.
Right. And then I saw the list and then you were he wanted to just reorder the list. He's like, I'll just reorder all this. And I'm like, oh, don't, because we didn't need all this stuff. And then he spent $5.99 on Avery labels from Walmart, and I got some for $1.99 at Hobby Lobby. So I'm budget minded. So you're welcome, Brian.
Yeah, it's great. To the finance team, she's serving you.
But that's the thing. If you're one person trying to do too much, there's only so much you can do. Yeah, so that's why it's great to be able to turn it loose to somebody and let them run with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we talked about too. Is of course you're it's one-stop shop, and that works for you. But yeah, I drove to 12 different stores and got all the things.
Oh, and it was fantastic, right? And the setup was great and everything else like that. What is your favorite candy topping for Carols and Cocoa?
I didn't actually have any cocoa.
Oh, that's a moment. Oh,
sorry.
Okay.
You're too busy working. You didn't have
I was
all over the space doing your things.
But I can tell you what the most popular topping was. Okay. We had some mint fudge chunks. Those went over. Those went over well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mint and chocolate always hits.
Mint and chocolate's fantastic. Yeah. Right? That's great. And what has it been like for Christmas Eve? So Carols and Cocoa is kind of the lead up, kind of slow down moment. So we give our team some time to rest, right, before Christmas Eve, and we kind of slow down the pace a little bit. What is it like? Because we're still in it.
Yeah,
right? Because even we're on a Sabbath Sunday podcast, we're recording before Christmas Eve, and so we're in it right now. So if everyone's resting, we're resting too, and thinking about recording this podcast on Sabbath Sunday. But right now we're in it. And so what has it been like for you? Kind of looking over fellowship area, getting volunteers set up for Christmas Eve, and kind of seeing that work be done too.
It's just one of those things. Working in the theater, you hit the point where you're like, oh, there's no way this is gonna be ready. There's no way this is gonna be ready, and then it all works out. Yeah. And the show is lovely. This is not a show, but this is the same type of feeling.
Absolutely.
Ooh, is it all gonna get done? Do we have the time to get all this done? But so many people step up, and
that is the neat part. It's people that show up unexpectedly, and I always see that as a gift. Right, I'll be like, who? Even this morning, someone said, "Hey, I'm not feeling well. I can't make it to help set up." Well, I had 2 key people to set up, and I was like, I'm going to adapt, right? And then here comes, I'm getting ready, I'm going, I'm like, look, I'm going to change my whole schedule this morning. I'm just going to go with this person because we need 2 people on it. And so I'm going, and all of a sudden, one of our volunteers walks in, and I'm like, did you get my text? And he's like, what text? And I'm like, God is so good. It's so amazing. And it's part of what God does, I think, in the season is people just recognize that it's also fellowship, but it's a time to serve in a really wonderful way, which is really neat. And I always love when the volunteers show up in that way because there's work everywhere. Like we have people taping windows, right, with black craft paper. That's a role, right? We have people setting new tap back cards on the chair. That's a role, right? We have people that are doing more intricate things like in the band and in the choir that are doing gifted things and skilled things, right? That are unique to them. And it's all over, right? And so all these different things are functioning at the same time in a really wonderful way. And you lead that. And so I think part of my heart is you as a volunteer also in the church. I deeply, deeply appreciate you.
Aww,
because
thanks.
Out of all the joy that I have from volunteers, the joy comes from a lot of the work that you do. And it's really incredible. And I have loved serving next to you in that way. So thank you. And I'm so happy that you're doing it. And
I didn't give it back.
Yeah, you didn't give it back. Yeah, you're not giving this one back. But we are backing it up, which is going to be great. So it's going to be really wonderful. So with this, like, we're preparing for our Christmas. There's different ways that churches prepare. This is a modern church. We're doing a choir this year. We got incredible music, right? An incredible band. We're doing a full what we call Cratemas, which is like there's crates with candles going up the stage. Like it's gonna be really wonderful. And then Tom, what is it like at a more what's it like in a more? So I love St. Luke. I led Christmas Eve worship at St. Luke when I was an intern. So I remember. What's it like this year for you leading first time on Christmas Eve?
So much different feel. There's not as much. Not as much to do because of the way it's set up, but it reminds me of going to church Christmas Eve with my grandparents. There's some nostalgia to it. The focus is a little narrower. There's Christmas trees, 2 Christmas trees on either end of the chancel, that are decorated. We have the handbells out and all polished up for the bell choir.
Yes.
And then the choir and choir
polish
booth.
them. That's important.
So they polish them. They're bright, shiny, and
gold?
pretty. Gold. Of
Yeah,
course.
beautiful. They have silver handbells too. Why?
Yeah, I don't.
Gold.
And some of them may be silver
different.
because we have Central Prez's handbells and St. Luke has their own handbells, so I don't know exactly how they got the mix. Because nice thing is there's teams of people, like I don't have to be involved in any of that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
They just tell me what's going on, and I'm like, great, I can stay, which is good because there's a limit to how much I can juggle. But we got the bell tower repaired.
Oh,
so the
bell tower has never worked. I don't think I've ever heard it.
Yeah.
It didn't work when I was there, and then I took a look at it just for a moment. I was like, yeah, that's not going to work when I'm here. So
we've got
do you have flyers and like fix the bell tower? I'm having Back to the Future.
Well, it's
a big line coming down. So you have a DeLorean? This is amazing. Yeah.
So we have a young man there, when he's an adult, but he's great with tech.
Great.
Which is great because that's somebody I need.
Is this Zach?
In a church. Yes.
Oh, okay. I met Zach.
Yes.
This is great. Okay.
So he got the company out. They redid some of the hardware because the hardware we've got is so old that there's nobody alive that can work on it, which is part of the issue. They put in new tech. They run the controller in. It's got a hook to a laptop. And 5 minutes before.
So you have ancient bells on a laptop running the music?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how does the music work with bells? Because it's chiming the bells. So
well, in this case, it's not the mechanical bells. It's like a speaker that does a bell tone.
Oh, nice.
So they can do that. So you don't have to have a rope and worry about teenagers sneaking out.
In my head, I'm not gonna lie, Tom. I had someone in the back closet, like. Boom.
Well, yeah, because then you got to worry about teenagers in the middle of the night ringing the bells at 2 a.m. because that's what they would do.
That's
and
great church stuff.
So like 5 minutes before service, it'll chime the bells. We'll play out, and this year it's gonna chime out "Joy to the World."
Oh, wow.
And before service starts,
look how happy you are.
It's great. It's just like they'll have the handbells for the bell choir, and then the choir, and then we're gonna sing "Stille Nacht," Silent Night in German, the first verse, and then go into the rest. And it's gonna be a great, beautiful night. But it's going to be more traditional.
Okay.
We are celebrating Christ's birth, which is a humble thing, right?
Yes.
Because he's born as a human infant.
I feel like you're gently saying that in contrast to what we're doing.
Well, no, part of it's the emphasis of the sermon on that too.
Oh, great.
I'm tying that into it.
So sure.
So we're using intinction for communion instead of the little wafers.
Okay, great.
Because I'm preaching on the humility of Christ, the humility of God in Christ, and how God comes in in weakness, and that's how God shows glory. And we're always looking for something different. And so it all fits, but there will be albs and stoles and all the formal stuff. But
you have acolytes coming down to light candles.
We have an acolyte.
Oh, nice. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I might watch your live stream just to see what's going on.
You'll be able to hear it now because you fixed our tech.
So, I did. So I got the joy of being down with you this week. So part of the role that we do at the church is we help other churches also. So we go out into other churches and help install technology to just get them to the next level. We're not an integrator, we're not anything crazy, but we have enough knowledge and enough great volunteers and team members to go down and install technology like streaming setups and different sound things. So we installed a streaming setup last year to get you streaming through some PTZ cameras. And then we also just installed a soundboard. So we got you on a digital soundboard, which was great, which apparently doesn't work with passive 1980 speakers, which
I think those are probably 1970s
speakers. Yeah, 1970 speakers.
1980s board.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. It was. Because it's just another trip to Fort Smith, and so it was beautiful. And so we got you set up though in a really incredible way to be done. But while I was there before you got there, so this was before your Wednesday night midweek services, I was working in there, and Jerry comes in, and I sang duets with Jerry when I was at St. Luke back 16 years ago.
Your
right?
internship, yeah.
Oh, it was great, and they started practicing for bells, and my heart was just overjoyed because I grew up with bells. I grew up with a massive bell choir, right, in my dad's churches, right? And so I know this. I played bells. I knew this. I mean, I had my little notes highlighted, everything. So they started playing, and I was like, oh, I remember this. This is beautiful. And then they were playing Dona Nobis, right? Dona Nobis Pacem. And so I'm like, Dona no. And like, you want to sing? I'm like, no, absolutely not. And I was like, I do.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I did a little bit. So they're going, but they were just laughing and having the best. And I love serving churches in addition to like my heart for the neighborhood, because I witness the local church. I witness the life and the body of Christ. And at St. Luke, it was beautiful, right? These are people I've known for 20 years now, right? And so beautiful to be with them and beautiful to hear them play. And then honestly, just give their heart through these songs. And so, yeah, they were practicing, and I thought it was for that night. And I realized that, nope, they're practicing.
Oh, they've been doing that for weeks for Christmas Eve.
Yeah, for weeks for Christmas Eve, right? And so I didn't even get to hear the end result. I just got to hear practice number 2.
You can if you check out the live stream. We'll be on Facebook now that you should know how to do that.
I can hear you.
Because now I know how to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the genius of Christ Church, right? There's a different model of church to bring joy to everybody out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a place for everybody.
Absolutely. So, Tom, you are talking about the bells and the bell tower, which is like these Christmas traditions, which we set up like new backdrops at the church. And, you know, we're doing Crate Miss this year, which is going to be beautiful. I know it sounds kind of rudimentary, but it's going to be beautiful. And we're going to have crates all up the back wall. And we leave these because we do Sabbath Sunday. So the Sunday after church, we take a rest, right? Because all the volunteers, the acolytes, the people, the bell choir, all the people on our side that are pouring into the band and the tech and all the people that are volunteering and setting up, we all need rest in a beautiful way. And so we keep our backdrops up, right? And we keep this moment all the way through that first Sunday in January that we come back, January 4th. And I always tell people, it's like, oh, it's because Christmas is still here, right? And Tom, you will tell me actually that like traditionally, right, in the seasons of the church, Christmas is still here. Can you share a little bit about that, just like an awareness for the church?
So prior to the 25th, we were in the season of Advent, right? This anticipation of the birth of Christ. And then on the 25th, where we celebrate the birth of Christ, begins the Christmas season.
That's right.
And it goes all the way through the end sundown on January 5th.
Yeah, that's great.
January 6th is the Epiphany, the night of the three magi visiting Jesus.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And so that's the Epiphany of our Lord. And so for those 12 days, the 12 days of Christmas, just like the song, 12 days, right?
You know what? How many people don't know that the 12 days of Christmas is alluding to the Christmas season in the church?
Yeah, because the song came much later.
Day of Christmas night? Yeah, right. And that's not where it came from.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so like on our Sabbath Sunday, that's the first Sunday of Christmas.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And what better holiday than Christmas to take a Sabbath and to be with your family and your loved ones, and and to take that rest because baby Jesus slept.
You hope baby Jesus slept.
I hope.
Like, what do we know about baby?
I hope for Mary that baby Jesus slept.
This is a moment where I'd love to read more in the scripture, but it doesn't.
It's just not there.
It's just not there. But like, who was baby Jesus? Let's be honest. Like, was baby Jesus a crier? Like, was baby Jesus a person who like got loud? Was baby Jesus a person who slept all the time? Like, we just don't know. I would love to know more about that. But it kind of leads us into like this wonderful moment, like family traditions, like talking about families and how we grew up in traditions. And so I wanted to ask you guys, what are some of the traditions that you grew up with as a family around Christmas? Because we've been talking church. I grew up and my dad had 5 to 7 services on a Christmas. So I set out all of the candles on the sidewalks and I helped in all the I loved it. Are you denying that? I loved that, kind of Christmas style. But then we also had our family traditions as a family, and now I'm creating those with my family as I have a 16 and 14-year-old, and we're doing these traditions, right? And they're part of it. So what are some of your family traditions that you guys have done with your family?
Oh, traditions they bring us so much comfort, and it's such a part of who we are. I can see my kids, how our traditions have impacted them.
Yeah.
And some of the traditions that maybe weren't even always necessarily intentional or a big deal, they become so important to them, Because I remember growing up, we would get to open one gift on Christmas Eve, and we did the rest Christmas Day.
Yeah.
But then Amy and I get married. We're blending our family, because for us, so we would always do Christmas Eve service.
Yeah, great.
We'd go to Little Rock, stay with my grandparents.
Okay.
Service started at like 10:45, 11 o'clock at night. We'd go to midnight when they'd sing Silent Night, in
great.
German with the candle.
Great.
And then come home and go to bed, and then we'd get up. And most of the time, it seems like we'd actually went to service Christmas morning also.
Oh, wow.
And my granddad was already up cooking. And looking back now, as the one who does most of the cooking in the house, I'm like, oh, there's no way.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna get home after midnight and then be up at 4 to start making homemade rolls.
Yes.
But it was worth it then. But I'm not gonna do that.
You know it now. You know the work that went into it.
Now I know what went into it. I'm like,
exactly.
I could appreciate it better after the fact, right?
great.
So for us, when we started looking at our family, some of the traditions that we built. One of them is 3 gifts. Kids only get 3 gifts, and I credit my wife. She's
Still
like,
true to this day.
oh yeah, still to this day. Like we go through the list, and we're like, if 3 was enough for baby Jesus, 3 was enough for my kids.
Wait, hold on. Is that really the reason you came up with 3?
Yeah.
That's really the reason you did 3 gifts? So they get gold?
No.
Oh,
no frankincense.
Okay.
No frankincense.
How
No
far
myrrh.
you're taking this illustration here.
As far as we'd stretch it, is sometimes we'd do 1 gift for all 3 kids.
Okay.
Which we don't do now because Curran's almost 25. My daughter's about to be 22, you know, and Connor's the youngest, and he's legally an adult, you know, right. And so they're all in different places, so that doesn't really work anymore, you know, but they still get 3 gifts. And we have the Advent calendar that we put out.
Oh, good.
That has the nativity scene.
Yeah.
And when Connor came home from college, he got there, and I met him in the park in the driveway, and he gave me a hug, and he looked at me with this kind of grin, like, "What?" He's like, "Is the Advent calendar up?" I said, "Yeah, but I don't know if it's current."
Yeah.
And Beeline, first thing he did was catch up the Advent calendar and everything exactly where it's supposed to be, and that. And then Curran, he's got an Advent calendar in his apartment, you know, and so. There's those little things like that. The Advent calendar was like, oh, that's a neat thing, but it wasn't like an intentional tradition, but it's become one for my kids.
That's cool.
You know, and so it's curious to kind of see like what is it they're going to carry on from what we do beyond just the 3 gifts. You know, and then we do, Christmas Eve always, and then hot cocoa that night, and then we get up and do our family in the morning and go start hitting all the other sides of the family, and so we basically eat nonstop for 24 hours.
Yeah, that's right. Through Christmas. That's great. That's great. Kaylee got an Advent calendar this year. Very exciting. She went and bought it because it was chocolate. And so every night she's like, "Hey, you want a piece of chocolate?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." I'm not a huge chocolate fan, but and so half of those are a miss. Huge miss, right? You get some of the bitter cacao ones, right? Like,
we did a cheese calendar last year. And some of those were kind of a miss.
Cheese calendar.
It was good. A lot was good, but there were some that was like a little bit of a miss.
I would also do a coffee calendar, right? If I had a coffee calendar, but the one I want to get is the Onyx one. But that one's a little bit out of my price range. But every year I'm like, 1 year I'm gonna get the Onyx one, and I'm gonna do like every day I'm gonna have a little cup of Onyx, which would be really nice. So, what about you, Andrea? What are some of the family traditions that you grew up with?
We grew up with it's of course has morphed different now than it was then. But back in my youth. German heritage, Scandinavian heritage. So we had oyster stew.
Oh wow, this is real.
Yeah,
like you said German Scandinavian. And I was like, I wonder how far we're gonna go. And,
it was oyster stew. I don't know if I imagine probably at one point it was only oyster stew.
Wow.
But then what
I've never
child wants to eat oyster stew?
Lutefisk or whatever the.
Yeah.
That's great.
Or it was then that morphed to pickled herring. That was our fish or whatever. But then it's been chili for as long as I can remember. It was chili. So it was oyster stew and chili, and then the oyster stew kind of faded out, and so now it's chili and another soup. But I hear people having prime rib or turkey, other things. But
you have a little variety though, because if everybody's got the same one, like when after Amy's parents, we'll get with my sisters and their families, and we're doing taco night.
Oh, nice! That's great. I love taco night. Christmas taco night.
Oh yeah,
that's really wonderful.
Would be the day after. By the time we get, because it takes so long, to get through everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, on Christmas really excited because when Christmas Eve has come, right, and it's beautiful and everyone's there. I stay at church on Christmas Eve after everyone leaves, and I usually sit for about half an hour in the silence. And Jess knows it's a really special time for me where I think back and I'm just grateful of the season and the year. And there's been so much that's going on and so many people that this quiet time with God is really special to me. And so by the time I get home, it's everything's slowing down in a really wonderful way. And so I always grew up with a Christmas movie. Like our family loves movies. And so we grew up watching a Christmas movie, and it could be anything. It doesn't have to be animated. It's not the same. I'm not a rewatch it every year kind of person. I'm like, we saw this last year. Can we watch something different? No. Like I'm a new kind of one that comes up every year. And so we do that. And then I would usually wrap presents because I'm really kind of on the run until Christmas Eve. And so I have all the presents, and I usually like to sit in silence watching a movie, where I watch a movie as a family, everyone will go to bed, and then I'll take the presents that I've bought, right, and I'll wrap those, right, and I'll just take time, and I'll kind of spend this time just kind of winding down. And then we do, Jess is a person who loves the open one gift on Christmas Eve. I am vehemently opposed. I am so opposed.
That must be a very traditional thing, because like I grew up with it. That's what I think my parents
really?
did.
Seriously?
So I don't know. That comes from somewhere, because I've heard so many people that do that.
I love Santa, and I am excited to see what Santa has brought on Christmas morning. And I don't need to see anything else on Christmas Eve, right? From any other person who's bought me a gift. I just want it all on Christmas morning.
All our gifts are Christmas Eve. all our gifts are Christmas Eve.
What happens on Christmas morning?
Well, there are Christmas,
okay,
but all our family
all
gifts.
Your family gifts are Christmas Eve.
Yes, Christmas Eve is our family gathering.
Our kids love it. They absolutely want to open gifts on Christmas Eve. They want it right then. And then we have the tradition of flannels. We get flannel. I have 4 to 5 sets of flannels.
We do matching pajamas.
Yes, I love it. What is this? It's so good.
So like the boys have a certain color plaid pants, but they couldn't find. They're going to do great. Like red for the boys and green for the girls, but they couldn't find that fit everybody, because right now is the wrong. We should have started way earlier. So it's a certain color robes for the girls and flannel pants for the boys for Christmas.
That's great.
It's a.
Got to buy those right in August when it gets set up.
Yeah, but it's great. It's great for pictures.
It's great for pictures, right? I mean, that's what. So we do the flannels, right? And then Christmas morning is cinnamon rolls. Family comes over. We're up early, so we're 6 o'clock getting ready. I love that, right? It's kind of saying
when the kids get older, it gets easier to sleep in.
It does. Yes. They might this year. I don't know what's going to happen. They might.
When they're little, they wake up at the crack of dawn on Christmas morning. I'm like, if this was a school day.
Yeah.
But now they're older, it's more of a slow roll. We get Amy and I usually get like an hour to sit there and drink coffee, make sure everything's out.
I thought you were gonna say you get an hour's sleep, because that's kind of us too. Yeah. No, I mean, because it's family Christmas, and then it's games, and it's prepping for. So and you know your kids are gonna be up super early. Yeah. So we're out of that super early. Yeah. You're probably almost out of that.
Oh well, we're out of it. And I think we start to rest on Christmas morning. Like I mean, I think it's a really beautiful thing. Like our Christmas morning is very relaxed. Right, and it's not the kind of go, right? And it's really intentional. And when we get through that, there's cinnamon rolls and there's Christmas music, and then we always start our Christmas puzzle. Jess loves puzzles, so we put out the puzzle table, right? And we start our Christmas puzzle. But it truly becomes about rest. And I think it's like we're on Sabbath Sunday today. It's important that as we think about this, I think that we've taken rest as a response to the work. I mean, you can even see it in life of a pastor. It's hard because it comes after Christmas Eve. I love that run, but at the same time, like I rest afterwards. Rest is not a response to work, right? Rest is something that's given by God, right? Not based on our achievement, right? And so I really think Sabbath Sunday was hard for me initially, because you don't ever take a Sunday. Like, don't take a Sunday. Like, we can't take a Sunday off of church. Like, what will happen? Like, where will the people, like, what's going to go on? And I remember the first time, like, thinking through this and being like, no, it's important that the church rests. You know, it's important that people know that there is rest here and that it's God-given. It's not given by Pastor Joe. It's not given by the church even. It's God-given. And I think what we're doing is we're teaching, right, the reality of what is Sabbath, right, and what it means to be beloved and rest. And so I want to take a second to read a scripture that kind of is always set for our the tone for our Sabbath Sunday. So it comes from Psalm 127, and Psalm 127 verse 2, and here's what it says. And this psalm, as we come into, is God's blessing in the home. So I want you to think about it. Put yourselves in your home, in your Christmas traditions, right? And for some families, Christmas tradition is Christmas Eve. Like, it's Christmas Eve service, and it's going to that. It's candlelight worship or midnight mass, and we have these moments that come in. But here's what it says in Psalm 127, verse 2. It says, "It is in vain that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil." I love that line. "For he gives sleep to his beloved." That is a beautiful line. So beloved in Scripture is a divine love, right? And so think of it, it's like Jesus Christ's love. So for those who God loves, for the sake of the world, right? So let's talk about the world. He gives rest to his beloved. Why then do we come to a space where we believe that we have to work in order to attain rest from God, right? And so I think there's this wonderful reality where we think that there is anxious toil, right? There's these moments that really come in our reality where we are anxious in all the things that we're doing in order to get to the season of rest. Or, hey, when I get through with this, then I will take the time and I will stop. When really the reality is finding the rhythm, right, of an embrace of God through our work and rest, right, as we come to that. And I think that's one of the hearts that as we really get into it is that it's God's gift, right? Rest is God's gift. So part of my question that I just kind of want to close out this podcast with is like, how do you rest? And I think that joy comes through rest. So in that is probably a two-part question. How do you rest? And do you find joy in that rest? And I think we need to help people understand that in rest we find joy. It's not that we worked and had the joy, now we just get to rest from it and pause and then go back to it. I think there's joy in rest. And so what is that like for you too? So how do you rest?
So I think to be able to have joy in rest, we have to let go of the anxious toil.
Ooh.
Because if we hold on to it, we can't.
Yeah.
And that's when we start running, trying to alleviate all the things that keep us from being able to rest.
Yes.
Whereas if we just are able to let it go, then we can. You know, it's about surrendering that some things that are outside of our control to allow them to be outside of our control and just and rest looks different for everybody.
That's
right.
Yeah.
Like I know rest to you.
Wait, why are you talk about your rest?
It's like extreme like exertion to me, right?
Yeah, right.
Because for me, rest is like I'm gonna sit in my chair next to my wife. We're gonna have a cup of coffee or a drink and read a book and just relax or watch a movie.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Because it's Die Hard every year because it is a Christmas movie.
Is it Die Hard every year?
Oh yeah, I've got a sweatshirt Amy got me that says "Ho ho ho." Now I have a machine gun that I will wear while sitting there watching that movie. But it's different for everybody.
Yeah,
you know, and it's where people find that they feel rested and they can find joy. I think part of the human condition is we have this idea that we want to take it on ourselves.
Yeah.
And we want to make it that I did this, I earned this, and we don't want to just accept the gift.
I mean, that's I believe 100% of the message we hear in Scripture. It frees us from thinking it depends on us. Like that, rest frees us that it depends on it. It doesn't depend on us.
No, and from the very
God is working these stories, right? Yeah.
Yeah, everything about the birth narrative from the very beginning of it. You know, God sent His messengers to us. God has sent His prophets to us.
Yes.
God sent His word to us in the form of a child known as Emmanuel, God with us.
Yes, right.
God always comes out to us. God is the active role in this, and we can't earn it.
That's right. We can't.
And so all we can do is accept it. And when God gives us the gift of His presence with us as one of us, and gives us the gift of Sabbath and rest, saying that we don't have to try to do it all, that we can't do it all, that we can rely on Him and just take a break and relax and be with our family and take a day off and experience joy outside of toil.
Yeah.
That's a huge gift if we're just willing to accept it. But we have to look past the idea that society wants us to believe that we have to earn it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly. What about you, Andrea? What does rest look like for you?
Yeah, I was going to say there can be very different ways of rest.
Yeah.
It might be couch potato, it might be hiking or running or whatever. I'm kind of like a little of sometimes it is nice to just hang out on the couch. I watched Die Hard this week too, so we're right with you.
That's really good,
But an activity or like baking or creating or doing something like that. That it's more for you and resting because we know God has it.
Yeah.
We can rest because He's taking care of everything.
Yeah.
So
I have those same reminders, right? And it's when like the people show up and different things. I'm like, oh, I have to work harder. Like this morning was a great example, right? Like having one of the volunteers say, hey, I'm not feeling well, I'm not going to make it. I said, great, that activates me. And so I said, great, I'm going to work harder, right? And shift my plans and make sure this is going. And all of a sudden a volunteer walks in and I was like, oh, that's like, man, I'm doing a podcast on it today, Lord. I hear you. It's like, I know it this morning. The guy's like, why did you think you had to work? Like, I sustain the church. I have grown the church. I have watered, and God's in this beautiful moment of going, no, these people are here because there is a kingdom growing and it's not depending on you. In a big way, it's not. Like we share our experience of God I just do that from the pulpit. I do that from the message. I do that from leading a church. We all share that experience. And so thinking that it depends on us again is not where we need to be, right? It's not based on the work, right? Really, Sabbath is about the word, and it's about relationship. It's about going back into Scripture and reading that, reminding ourselves. Because I am an active rest person. I love to be active. My rest is active. Like if I have time to rest, I'll go and do something, right? Like, and that feeds me, right? Because it's hard for me to slow down. Now there are times when I do, like if my kids cuddle with me on the couch. Here's the deal: 16 and 14 years old. If they go right in the nook and cranny of my arm and they just lean and go, "You want to watch a movie?" I don't care what was on the schedule. I don't care if we had church ministries. I'll be like, "Hey, look, can't make it today. I'm about to sit down and watch Die Hard with my kids. It's gonna be awesome." And we do that, and that's joy. Like the joy I realize from rest is in relationship. It's in the Word, right? It's in the 30 minutes that I take after Christmas Eve service in the dark by myself with the trees lit. Like it's in those moments where I'm like, oh, this is the joy. This is the joy, remembering it's not all based on me, right? And it's not based on anyone else. It's all of us together, right? Moving towards the kingdom. That's what I think Sabbath is. And so my hope on the Sabbath Sunday is that people find rest, right? Like my hope is that they're at home with their families, turning this on and watching it on YouTube or watching it on Facebook, listening to it on a podcast, right? Maybe while they're baking sourdough. Who knows? Like they could be doing great things on a Christmas morning or in their traditions while they're doing a puzzle, right? That faith is a part of their daily life. And I think the church is a wonderful example of us gathering together, but faith should be done in the home, just like this psalm says. This is faith in the home, right? Sabbath is meant for you and your relationship with God. The church does not need to be present in that in order for you to have Sabbath or rest. And the church does not need to be present in order for you to have a faith relationship with God. But the church is there to see the community of God in action, right? And to see the community of God moving towards the kingdom in a beautiful way. So in a really incredible way, I hope you too enjoy Sabbath also, right? And enjoy the rest after the season. And we're coming back. So now, mind you, when we take Sabbath, we also come back in and we're going to gather the body. So we're looking forward to January 4th. January 4th, Sunday, first Sunday back in. We're going to be coming back into the church. One service.
Still Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Still Christmas. And that's why we leave our backdrop up and all the trees are still up because our team leaves. I say they cannot do anything after Christmas. They have to go home, right? And they have like, what about this and what about it? Nope. Just walk away. It's going to be okay. We're going to come back and it's going to be fully Christmas still. It'll be wonderful. So we return one service, January 4th, 10 a.m., the full body of Christ gathered together. And it's a new year. New year for a new you, right? New relationships transformed by God. So we're going to be talking about that in the message of what that means in your relationship too. So thank you for joining us for our Sabbath Sunday podcast. We hope you as a family at home enjoyed our Sabbath Sunday podcast. This is the Neighborhood Church, and the best way to close out, the same way we do in worship, is all God's people said.
Amen.
Love you. Peace.